I think it's weird that I hang out with Gary and his 15-year-old friends all the time.
Take a look at the long man, beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if you'll ever know
I'm not gonna forget you.
who's in the best-selling show.
Just like you're not gonna forget me.
Is their life
Gross.
on Mars?
Roll sound. Roll camera A. Roll camera B. Marking. Action. And coming Nancy!
Hello?
Hello, David. Welcome to the ninth and final. Well, not final, because David, let me tell you,
Not final for us, final for the audience.
final for the audience.
Oh,
Let me tell you what our next episode's going to be about, David. Paul Thomas Anderson. Allegedly, we're looking at a movie all about jazz, starring Denzel, Leo, and Tiffany Haddish.
gonna be incredible, I think.
That could be great. Now,
Could also be terrible.
could also be terrible. Now we all know about Woody Allen's long gestating jazz movie that he's wanted to make his entire career. We all know about that.
Yes, obviously.
And who knows, maybe this time one of my favorite directors will get to make their big jazz movie.
Why didn't Woody Allen get to make his big jazz movie?
I don't know. What happened to him? Nobody's talking.
Nobody's talking about Woody Allen anymore.
Right. Moral and ethical question.
Yes.
When we're watching movies with my lady friend, not us two together, and we end up watching a Woody Allen movie, I'm pretty sure she doesn't know anything. Do I tell her? When do I tell her? Do I have to tell her?
You know, Tom, relationships are highly personal things that require a lot of judgment on part of the parties involved.
Answer in the poll below when she's done.
The audience can vote now.
Smash that subscribe button and let us know when you think Tom should tell his lady friend about the serious allegations of sexual misconduct against Woody Allen. Yo, bro.
If you like and subscribe, remember to ring that bell.
Ring that bell if you want to know about the 1995 Sun Yi allegations. Yo. Next up, we're doing a 3-part episode on Allen versus Farrow.
I don't know why you're saying it. I don't know why you're saying it like you're trying to be ironic, Tom.
I was going to say we have done 6 episodes on Woody. Good episodes. Right. Speaking
of weird sexual situations, Licorice Pizza.
Oh God, I didn't even realize this was not an elaborate setup. This was not a joke.
No, but it was a perfect segue.
That was incredible. I just turned my iPad on and looked over. Wow. Sometimes, David, we stumble into these things. Licorice Pizza. This movie came out 2 months before. Sorry, it came out in America 2 months before it came out in England, very annoyingly. And so he's my favorite director. I'm incredibly excited for this movie. I've only done this once before, which was for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which this film is very similar to in many ways, I feel. And again, it came out in America 2 months before it came out in January in England. And so I watched an illegal copy online, and it was a shitty copy. It was a camera in a cinema. It was awful. And because it was one of those things where I would much rather see a worse copy. Same with Hollywood. I would much rather see a worse copy and not find things out.
Have it all spoiled for you.
yeah, especially I feel with Hollywood, I guess, but not that I knew what that ending was going to be. But anyway, then when it did come out officially in England, I went to the Central Picture House in London and watched a beautiful 35mm print. Beautiful. And then I watched it again just at a normal cinema. And then, and I think this is the key, I was forced to watch it over and over and over again because it was one of the only movies that I liked on our cruise TV channel. So there were literally, the way the cruise TV channel worked was they would have a movie on, one of the new movies, they would have it all day on repeats. And so there was a couple of times over my first time at sea where I was watching Licorice Pizza and certain scenes. It was a real, oh, great. What am I? Oh, I've got 20 minutes. Okay. Oh, Sean Penn. Oh, I've got 20 minutes. Okay. I'll watch the truck scene again. I'll watch this again. And that kind of burst through the, I don't know, it made it instantly rewatchable for me.
I think it's a brilliant movie. It's a very fun movie to watch. It is sort of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in that way, where you're just kind of wondering. It's not necessarily a plot-driven movie, is what I would say.
No, it's incredibly episodic.
Yes,
and I think you could make the argument that it works better in the sense of me flicking through channels randomly and watching 10-minute chunks rather than watching it as a real film. That might be the most stupid thing I've ever said, but I think you can understand what I'm trying to say.
Well, as long as you're popping into just random scenes, you don't have to think about the elephant in the room.
And of course, you're referring to that glorious elephant at the Phantom Thread New Year's Eve party. This was a real conversation I had this morning with said lady friend who is yet to learn of anything of the worries of night. She hasn't learned anything about 1995. Yesterday, she told me she didn't know what O.J. Simpson was guilty of.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if she knows that who won the war. Like, she just surprises me with things sometimes.
Which one?
Which one? There was more than one? Oh God. And so the conversation went, you might have seen it because she does the same job. I was like, oh, you might have seen it because it was on the cruise a lot. And she was like, oh, and I said, it's got Bradley Cooper in it. And she went, oh, is it that really weird one where he kills her boyfriends for her? And I said, no, that's Ben Affleck and that's Deep Water. And I love Deep Water as well, as we know. And then she Googled Licorice Pizza and went, oh no, I have seen this one. This is also weird, isn't it? And I said, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do find myself wondering why that was the choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Okay. So let's talk about it through this. So there have been movies like this before. Yes. There is. Have you seen Rushmore?
I have not.
The Wes Anderson movie. You just said you haven't.
No.
I don't know why I'm doing that thing where I say, have you
Have you seen this movie you've never heard of? What about the director? That's even more obscure.
Yeah.
Not that Wes Anderson's obscure, but
yeah. And you haven't seen Harold and Maude. I'm trying to think of other examples. The big age gap movies. Anyway, the point is that, right, let's get two elephants out of the room. We don't need to do the boring take cycle about how this would not be a film that was ever made if it was a 25-year-old man and a 15-year-old woman.
Yes, we all know this.
We all know this. Other things we all know. Yeah, Harold and Maude, she's a lot older, but he's also he's in his early 20s and he's like a stunted adult. Harold and Maude's great. What else? Rushmore is completely illegal, but is just a crush and doesn't go anywhere. Now, you can make the argument, and she's a teacher and he's a student, and it's very Wes Anderson-y. It is just about a playwright kid who falls in love with this teacher, and he's caught in a love triangle with Bill Murray, who is obviously actually having an affair with this teacher. Rushmore's my favourite Wes Anderson movie, dude. Bill Murray should have won the Oscar. Right.
Go on.
No, this is right. This is the thing, isn't it? I don't want the entire conversation to be covered in this. Right. This is what I wrote when I first watched it and I released my review. This is January the 30th, 2022, David. Where were you?
Reading me the receipts.
Okay. PPS. In so many ways, the film's biggest flaw is the fact that it gives us one of the best and most fleshed out female characters of the year, and frankly, in some time. If Haim's character of Alana was more of a perfect stereotype, then a lot of the discourse around the age gap at the heart of the film could be passed off by people stating that the film is simply a babysitter romance fantasy playing out before our eyes from Gary's point of view. It's a typical case of you as a filmmaker telling an acute story and not being able to do right for doing wrong. A catch-22. I haven't reread this, by the way. I'm going deep blind. I may say something incriminating. Having Alana be a symbol rather than a character. Oh, sorry. Have Alana be a symbol rather than a character, and you call Anderson a sexist. Instead, Anderson is as truthful and nuanced in his depiction of Alana as he is the rest of the characters he has created in this film and the rest of his career. Your problem with age gap romances is in real life. Anderson is depicting real things that have happened before and will happen again, good or bad. I promised myself I wouldn't discuss the discourse, but yeah, here I am.
To be fair, I think it is a fair point. She is a fully fleshed out character, and it is, ultimately it's not a plot driven movie, it's a character driven movie, and she's an engaging character, and the relationship that she has with Gary, such as it is interesting to see develop and see how it influences their lives, and how in a lot of ways it almost doesn't become the central focus of everything. It's just a thing.
It's just a thing. I feel so icky saying things like this, but I just want to get it out of the way. It's not consummated, nothing actually illegal happens.
Well, she does expose her breasts to him.
She does expose her breasts to him. But also, right, again, oh God, I'm just digging myself a grave here. Why couldn't he have made another movie after this? Why does this have to be the final one? But it was the 70s. Now, I know that that's no excuse or anything, but I just think everyone was a lot more in. It's like when we find out that Frisbee, the girl who works at the restaurant, gave him a hand job.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it probably is perverted and wrong. But
I mean, it's not necessarily it is perverted and wrong, in real life, but it's a story. It's also not necessarily completely unbelievable or outside of the realm of reality. And
exactly.
It's the cultural context of the time. It's the 1970s. It's Los Angeles, Hollywood. Everybody's on that free love move or free love train.
Yeah. The crux of the film is obviously that he's 15, she's 25, and yet he is probably 10 years older mentally, whilst also being incredibly immature. And she is 10 years younger mentally, whilst also being incredibly mature. And somewhere in the cosmos, they do meet in the middle. And she brings out the best of him in the sense of he's this incredible entrepreneur and sort of puts her on an actual path when she has been quite loosey-goosey in life and a bit to the wind. And she brings him down to reality in the sense of just his personal life and his conduct and being a bit of a an arsehole and naive ultimately.
Yeah.
And then again, Paul Thomas Anderson is an incredibly intelligent writer and director, and I think the chief word is provocateur. If he wanted to make an Instagram friendly, everybody loves Licorice Pizza coming of age film and not change anything apart from making him 16 and her 20, literally, he didn't have to change any of the plot because it really is thrown away. It doesn't come up a lot at all. It comes up a little bit in the conversations at the start. and then never comes up again.
Yep. And I would agree, like Paul Thomas Anderson's thing to me, having watched most of his films at this point, as we've been going along, is he seems to enjoy telling the story you would expect a white guy in Hollywood to tell, but tells it in a different way than you expect. Essentially, you start watching his movies and you get a sense of, oh, I see where this is going, but it never ends up exactly where you expected it, and there's always it's always like telling these sort of conventional stories that you expect are going to be very much like almost like a genre movie. But then they turn those conventions on their head in surprising ways. Um, yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect from him.
Yeah, I think I always think of when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got announced, and it was like, oh yeah, Margot Robbie's going to be Sharon Tate, and suddenly everybody was having these horrible flashes of Sharon Tate going full Inglorious Bastards and going full Kill Bill, and I don't know, I just never had that feeling. I just had a lot more faith in Tarantino as a filmmaker, and to handle it with deftness. Now, maybe that is me completely dismissing the image of Hitler being machine gunned in the face. I don't know. I just feel like with each of Tarantino's alternate histories, he's made very specific, intentional, and I do think mature's maybe the wrong word, but copious like decisions that fit that specific story. And in each case, I mean, the opening scene of Inglourious Bastards and the dog mauling scene in Django, there's no glamorization there. He never once shies away from the horrors of the Holocaust or slavery. And with Sharon Tate, I mean, it's this own other beautiful, ethereal, haunting thing. Whereas when one hears that Licorice Pizza is going to be a 25-year-old falling in love with a 15-year-old and it's going to be a coming-of-age 70s thing, I think people give Anderson a little bit more credit and go and think, oh no, it's going to be, it's not going to be about that, and it's going to be handled really, really well. And it kind of isn't. It is like kind of fumbled, kind of thrown away, fun above all else, and just a real loose ride, unlike any of his other films he's made.
Say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood feels like a much more cohesive movie with a cohesive sort of story that's going on and well-drawn characters. And it's not that the characters aren't well drawn in this, but their relationships don't necessarily really go anywhere or lead, or not that like their relationships don't change or they have no arcs, but it's just sort of, the story goes on after this. There is no,
they don't have the arc that you want or expect of the movie ending with her going to university or something and then having this fun little summer, and then Gary, I'm 25, and then some cute little thing where she goes, or call me in 5 years, maybe, or something. It doesn't have the ending that you really want arc-wise. It has the ending that you've been dreading the whole time, which is, I love you, Gary. I love you. It's this great fantasy, or is it? It's made like a fantasy, but it's also incredibly realistic in every way it presents everything. So it's that juxtaposition.
And it makes me think that Paul Thomas Anderson was intentionally trying to make something that would not be able to be pinned down as one thing or the other. It's neither glorifying pedophilia nor is it openly condemning it. It's sort of just telling a story where the characters happen to be in this awkward situation.
How many times do you hear stories from people who were falling in love in the 70s and you were like, oh yeah, I was yeah, well, I was 15 and he was 20 at the time. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Anyone who asks their grandparents about how they fell in love oftentimes gets a horrific story.
It's like, right, okay, nice. That's a big gap. I don't think you're so old now. I didn't realize that you were once teens. Yeah. And again, I mean, we don't, and like, let's just dive straight in. What a way to front load the first block of this episode.
So we've got all that out of the way. Why?
Let,
What do we think of the movie?
no. We've got the other big one to step on, which is the Jerry Frick racist scene. And like people, that whole conversation that swamps the film, and it's just the most simple answer in the world. Racist shitheads do exist. I don't know in what world you think that the joke is on these Asian women and not on stupid Jerry Frick doing this horribly racist voice and being completely ignorant. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really. I hadn't even heard of that criticism really.
Oh yeah, lots.
I mean, it is. Yeah, the joke is on him in those scenes. He's a ridiculous idiot. However, although the joke is on him and the writing does make a fool out of him, I would say that the framing sort of puts him in this role of like he's still someone that helps Gary start his business, and he's still like this successful businessman. He's someone who is still key to the plot and to the progression of the characters that we care about and who helps them out. So although the joke is on him and his scenes, the framing of the movie itself sort of paints him in this light that's troublesome, I guess.
Yeah. Let's begin. Licorice Pizza. What's an overall thought?
It's a very watchable movie. My first time watching it, similarly to you, I was watching it on an airplane. It's a terrible place to watch a movie, but
you were going to Florida, and this was when I met you in Florida.
Yes,
and we talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. How time flies.
God, yeah.
But I on the second watch through, I think, it feels much more like the choices that were made intentionally to sort of make the movie something that couldn't be put into a box in one way or another, I guess. It's sort of a meandering, wandering story of life in Hollywood in the 70s and kind of the not necessarily the glitz and glamour, but the a romanticized ideal of the kind of seedy underbelly of Hollywood.
Well, let's just talk about the things that that brought this story to be. So for a long time, Paul Thomas Anderson has had a friendship and discussions with the producer Gary Getzman or Gertzman. I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's Getzman. Longtime producer of Jonathan Demme's work, director, the director of Silence of the Lambs, the director of Philadelphia, who Phantom Thread is dedicated to, who was a mentor to Anderson in his own right. Pardon me. And so he was a child actor who was in the Lucille Ball movie Yours, Mine, and Ours, which was about 18 kids under a roof. And he did do a pinball machine on Enterprise, and he did flirt with a girl who was older than him and was his guardian for this trip. And
so this is his fantasy played out to the conclusion he wishes it had come to, perhaps.
Perhaps, yes. And he did once what do you call it? Fit a waterbed in John Peters' home.
I thought you were about to say drive a truck backwards downhill and
no, but what a great scene.
What an excellent scene. The suspense, the tension.
That's just a great movie. And then, yes, Anderson has also said that one of his biggest influences was walking. This was some 20 years ago. He had this idea, and now it finally comes to fruition. Is he was walking past a school and saw a younger kid hitting on an older woman, as so many of us have, and we have those crushes and whatever in periods of life. And he thought that a funny idea would be, what if the older woman called his bluff? Girl? Yeah, what if she called his bluff and actually came to the dinner? Great idea, and you go from there. And then you weave in all of these pseudo-real characters. I mean, the producer is very clearly Sue Mengers. They don't even really hide William Holden and Lucille Ball. They don't even bother. And John Peters, they just talked to the real John Peters and said, "We're going to put you in this movie," and he was into it.
I'm hoping that someday you and me can end up as Jack Holden and Rex Blau, just seeing each other across the way in the bar.
You, is that David Whiting?
No, Tom.
Yeah. Right. Can we now be more positive? This movie is hilarious. This movie is so watchable. This movie is
so some good stuff going on, which is what makes it such a confusing movie to watch. Because I think you're left in this state of finding it so engaging and funny, and just really, really smart. But also being wildly uncomfortable with the unaddressed elephants.
On a broad scale, I'm throwing out 10-minute stretch and best single minute. Maybe I'll put them back in. I don't know. See how I feel. But on a broad overall, do you have a favorite segment, episode, figure who comes in and out of Gary and Alana's life?
I do really, really enjoy watching the truck going backwards downhill. Probably one of my favorite parts. But also the entire segment where she decides to run off with his castmate at first and brings him to Seder dinner. I love that whole culmination, and then she winds up at the expo that he's selling his waterbeds at, and says, "Does your boyfriend care about this? Don't have a boyfriend."
No boyfriend. No boyfriend. Love Scaliger Sando. What an actor. Muy bien. Ciao, muy bien. I just think everybody's on such top form.
Yeah, it's great character performances all around. And an excellent showing from Cooper Hoffman.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, let's talk about this then. So at the heart of this movie, you've got two sublime debut film performances. Let's talk about Alana Haim first. So Paul Thomas Anderson is friends with the Haims, always has been, mostly their entire life. He's directed multiple of their music videos. I've never listened to Haim. I nearly got into listening to Haim after watching this for the first time, because I was like, okay, Alana Haim, wow. I've completely fell head over heels for Alana Haim.
I do have the biggest crush on her watching this movie.
Yeah. And if only I was 15 again. And and I thought she's
very
wonderful.
Jewish nose.
And a very Jewish nose. You're a fucking fighter. You're a goddamn fucking fighter. Harriet Sansom Harris, the winner of the Thomas Carruthers Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2022. Let's talk about another memory that you might have come in and out of. I think you were at college. Me cooking bacon, watching the live presentation of the nominees for Liquorice Pizza for the Oscars, and not hearing the name Bradley Cooper for Best Supporting Actor. I want to just get these up now. Academy Awards.
Hey, I mean, it's an excellent performance from Bradley Cooper, but it is something that I feel like we've seen Bradley Cooper do before.
What, in Burnt?
In almost everything he does. I mean, he played an off-kilter, sexy Hollywood guy.
I tell you who's so Troy Kotzer won for Coda. Yeah, good performance. Kieran Hines for Belfast, fine.
Your face doesn't say so.
Kind of fine. You know what really annoyed me? When Belfast won Best Original Screenplay over Liquorice Pizza. What the hell are we doing? The hell are we doing here?
You make a story about pedophilia interesting, Belfast writers.
Yeah. Nobody falls in love with that Irish kid. It would have been so much better. Best actor, Will Smith. That's aged well. Jesse Plemons, The Power of the Dog. You know what was really funny is watching those Oscars and me wanting to talk non-stop about Kenneth Branagh beating Paul Thomas Anderson for Best Original Screenplay, and everyone being like, "No, Tom, we want to talk about Will Smith punching Chris Rock on the stage." And I'm like, No. Did you see the Oscars last night? Did you see that really terrible, shocking thing? Kenneth Branagh winning for Best Original Screenplay. Where do you feel on this subject, David? Best Adapted Screenplay. Drive My Car, beautiful. Coda wins, no. Dune, great adaptation. The Lost Daughter, beautiful screenplay. The Power of the Dog. Where do you feel about the fact that Macbeth wasn't nominated? How do you feel about that? Because technically Macbeth should win everything. It should always win Best Original Screenplay, like Best Adapted Screenplay. I don't want to be that guy. It's like, yeah.
I mean, I didn't see Macbeth, so it might have been shit for all I know.
It's like when I don't think Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf won Best Adapted Screenplay. It's like, well, why not? It's one of the greatest plays of all time, and they just put it on the screen. Why can't it win?
Successfully.
Yeah.
No. It's just an honor to be nominated.
It is an honor to be nominated. Box office. It's quite a loosey-goosey episode, a bit like the film Liquorice Pizza. Budget 40 million, box office 33.3 million. Kind of a little bit of a, not overly successful, but successful for an independent movie. Yeah, I think it just got lost in a sea of Twitter. And
yeah, I think people were very quick to condemn it for, what we've already discussed.
And it's, in this time, Paul Thomas Anderson, older straight white guy is not going to be the guy that people are going to get on their high horses about and be like, no, actually, it's it's a good thing that Paul Thomas Anderson's making his movies. Yeah, obviously, is a good thing, but
as we all know, brings out the worst in everyone. And the court of public opinion has very little room for nuance, which this movie is full of. So
good stuff, David. Lovely.
Oh.
We've got 5 minutes before our first break. I'm going to hit on a few of these. But best building or set, I've got the Tail of the Cock, which is a real restaurant in the San Fernando Valley. Which restaurant would you rather us go to, David? The Tail of the Cock or Musso and Frank's?
Ooh, I'd have to go with Musso and Frank's.
Musso and Frank's looks pretty great.
What is what's the one that they go to in oh God, no, I can't remember. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the one that they go get drunk. Is that Musso and Frank's?
That's Musso and Frank's. Oh wait, no, where they go get drunk.
The one that
with
the one where they go and get drunk on tequilas.
They went to a Mexican restaurant. They got drunk.
Yeah, I want to go to that Mexican restaurant and get drunk.
When you got a guy in your life who's not quite a wife, but not quite a friend.
Who's a little more than a friend and a little less than a wife.
Oh, what a film. What a great film. Right, here's the big question. Ignore the broaching of Woody Allen. The lady friend wants to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, I've come across this issue before where people watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and don't know about Sharon Tate being murdered by the Manson family. And so watch the whole film and then go, what? How do I find out if she knows about the Sharon Tate murders?
I can tell you, I didn't know about the Sharon Tate murders the first time I went to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and still fucking loved it. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I know.
My sister was like, "No, you're not uncultured." My sister was like, "I don't get it. Why was Margot Robbie in it?" And I said, "Because she was supposed to die." And she went, "She was supposed to die? What? And I said, "She was supposed to die. It happened in real life." She's like, "That happened in real life?" I'm like, no, not exactly.
There was no flamethrower to save the day in real life.
Can we turn that heat down? Look, it's a flamethrower, Rick.
Yeah.
Flamethrower, Rick. What do you think?
This Paul Thomas Anderson episode has quickly turned into a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood episode.
Which Paul Thomas Anderson movie needed a flamethrower? I've got it.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah, Boogie Nights. Rahad Jackson, instead of coming out with a shotgun to chase Dirk,
comes out with a fucking flamethrower.
Yep.
See,
That's Cosmo.
Paul.
Ignore it.
Paul,
It's Chinese.
we know you're watching this, Paul. You need to get on your remake of Boogie Nights.
Paul, remake Boogie Nights. Don't or put me in your jazz movie. I will do anything for you, Paul. Paul.
And he does mean anything.
Yeah. Oh, Woody, if you're listening, I'm listening to the podcast. It's really great. I haven't listened to any other episodes apart from my 6 movies in Licorice Pizza, and I loved Licorice Pizza. Right. Okay. Before we take our first break, we are going to type in Woody Allen Licorice Pizza and see if anything was said. My thoughts. Oh, somebody's posted a YouTube video called "My Thoughts on Licorice Pizza." P.T.A. goes full Woody Allen.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, lots of most of these are reviews of the film that talk about Woody Allen. So Woody hasn't said anything the other way around. However, lots of people are referring to Licorice Pizza as, it's in that style of a Woody Allen comedy. It feels like a veiled threat. We're going to take our first break, and we'll be back with the actual categories and stuff that we do on this show.
You said.
Okay, best 10-minute stretch. I have opening with just that first flirtation with the tiny toes, and you think, oh, this is quite cute, younger guy. Oh, okay, he's fallen in love. He's got a crush on this older woman. Okay, that's quite cute. And she slowly, bit by bit, gets taken in.
Yep. And you sort of gaze on in horror as she smiles and walks away.
And that beautiful Nina Simone, July Tree, beautiful song. Then and the whole thing is just perfectly timed to July Tree. I think it's great. Now there may be a secret cut in there, like there is with Driver's Seat in Boogie Nights. Like halfway through Driver's Seat starts again, and I can't remember what watch of it, and I heard the lyric and I was like, that's the lyric from they've started it again. The plane. Our love is a lie.
Yes, watching them on the plane together. I like the entire motorcycle scene. Action, Jack.
I think Sean Penn as Jack Alden might be sneakily more fun and better than Bradley Cooper.
I thought he was a more fun character. Yeah, Bradley Cooper was so erratic while he was on screen and then gone.
I think obviously the whole. I mean, right. So the funniest line that John Peters says is, "I've got it here. I've got it here."
I mean, I've already got my favorite Sean Penn line.
Oh, go on.
I saw my 2 best black friends beheaded in the Congo.
That's the one, yeah.
I've shared with no one, but don't ask me about Kuala Lumpur.
Brilliant. The jungle. That's where I'm most myself. Just that line that starts that little speech.
It's brilliant.
It's just exceptional stuff. The phrase "I lost my 2 best black friends in the Congo." No, sorry, David. I saw my 2 best black friends beheaded in the Congo. Let's not forget how they died. I will share with you intimacies that I have never shared with another person. Oh, and you're thinking, is he real? Is he full of bullshit? Is he one of these actors who was in the war? Yeah. Is this part of it all? Is he a figure who actually was in the war and this is all truth? We'll never know. That could win any argument against John Peters. Look at you cocky motherfucker. We speak the same language. I can see it now. We're both in the streets. I couldn't see it before, but now I see it. They're both incredibly enjoyable performances. I nominated them both in the Thomas Carruthers Best Supporting Actor Award. Do you know who they lost to, David?
Who?
The finest comedic performance of the year, Jonah Hill in Don't Look Up.
That makes me really tired.
I thought it was hilarious. I haven't laughed as much as Thanks for Dressing Up That really, really.
He was brilliant. I didn't laugh one time throughout that entire movie because me and my family were too busy being so depressed as we watched
Oh,
that
it's very
whole
bleak.
thing. It was so bleak and yeah. Yeah. I think that movie ended in my family who never watched the credits of anything. We just like back right out of whatever movie it is as it ends. That movie ended and none of us moved for about 10 minutes because the credits fully finished.
Mm.
Yeah.
Good movie. Good movie. Never
Good
want to watch it
movie.
again. Never want to watch it again. Should have cut Timothy Chalamet.
I'm living
Uh, the showroom and the arrest for murder. This is another Gary Getzman
Yes,
story,
that entire like segment comes out of nowhere and is brilliant.
and is also completely placed. You know, stranger than fiction. Gary Getzman was mistaken for a for a murderer, and was apprehended by police.
And it places us very firmly in the 70s during like some of the height of some of the racial tensions in the LAPD and the sort of brutality of the police department at the time.
Is there a more 70s line than "Have fun at Attica, dickhead"?
Fun at Attica, dickhead. Yeah, the cops are fucking assholes, man.
Attica, Attica. Have you watched Dog Day Afternoon, David?
I'm not.
Dog Day Afternoon is incredible. I'm opening the window. It's nice and hot today.
I don't know why I'm asking this because there's nothing to do with anything we're talking about. But have you seen With Honors with Joe Pesci and oh my God, who's the guy from Kangaroo Jack?
What a
Uh,
sentence. No, I don't think I have seen.
with Honors, set in Harvard in the 80s, I think 80s or 90s. Joe Pesci plays a homeless guy who brings the wisdom of the world to a Harvard, graduate or soon to be graduate.
This looks lovely.
It's charming.
Patrick
I can't
Dempsey's
believe
in
I've
it.
actually seen a movie with Joe Pesci in it that you haven't.
How did this not get in the 1994 Oscar race?
Are pigs flying? We need to look outside.
If you want a degree, go to Harvard. If you want an education, go to Simon Wilder. And the person you're thinking of from Kangaroo Jack is Josh Hamilton.
Completely wrong, wasn't I?
No, With Honors looks. I could watch that. I could watch anything. Um,
Sorry, my coffee went down the wrong pipe there.
no, it's all right. I really enjoy the whole politician final segment.
Yes.
I think it loses a lot of people. I think because you're on such a build up and high of even now on repeat watchers, us preferring the Sean Penn of it all.
Yeah.
It does still build. Like you have to end on Bradley Cooper, but we don't end on Bradley Cooper. We end on this
This
sadder,
weird politician guy.
tragically closeted, based on a real politician who is thanked in the credits, and because each one has been more fun than the other. Like Lucille Ball screaming at children is hilarious, or should I say Lucy Doolittle for copyright reasons? Is it copyright if they're a real person?
I would say libel, maybe.
Yeah, libel. That's it. That's the term.
Yeah, it's I say weird in that or like not because the politician is gay, but more because it feels like it's sort of a change up from the previous sort of side characters that we've been meeting all through sort of like over the
And
top.
it's just a completely different tone of sadness.
I think it grounds the movie at the end from like these fantastical characters that we've seen to sort of like, okay, these two are going forward into their lives now and becoming more grounded as people.
Mm.
And so too does the film. The film suddenly becomes seemingly more grounded in a way with that sequence.
It's one of those choices. It's a bit like La La Land, where it's a choice where you understand what they're doing, but it does make it overall a lot less enjoyable, which is like La La Land. They're intentionally not being any songs for like an hour. And you're like, I get it. But put a song in there.
You're stepping off the ride, essentially, at this point, where, Bradley Cooper sort of brings us to like the fever pitch of wacky, like supporting cast members. And you would expect the movie to end with that, but ending it with this sort of closeted politician and
And a pair of sensational performances from Benny Safdie and Matthew Cross, or Joseph Cross. Sorry, am I saying that? I think it's Joseph Cross. He's playing Matthew.
yes, it's Joseph Cross and Benny Safdie.
Yeah, Benny Safdie, one of our great current directors as well, with Uncut Gems and Good Time, and now he's just great in loads of movies as well. Like he was great in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. By the time that this has come out, he's also been in Oppenheimer. You know, really carving out a little minor career as an actor, which is not becoming minor anymore. It's becoming a real a real career aside of the his great directing partnership with his brother, and and then Joseph Cross is just so heartbreaking and beautiful in this performance. I'm a big fan. It really took me by surprise, and it's always a segment of the film which I perhaps enjoy is the wrong word. And also the great, well, not great payoff, but the payoff of the weird guy who you think they're doing like a taxi driver ripoff of, like he's hanging out outside the politician's base. And it's basically the exact same scene from Taxi Driver where he goes to flirt with Sybil Shepherd, and Albert Brooks comes out and is like, "Yeah, no, you can't stand around here." And it's the exact
strikingly
same scene.
similar, yeah.
And then for that payoff of, oh no, he's not a taxi driver situation. No, he's a reporter. He's been paid to catch this guy being gay. That's why he's there, and now it's the tragedy of this guy's life. No, I'm going to falter this lovely relationship that he clearly has with this Matthew. You know, I've what happened was is that Alana, you're gonna now go home with your boyfriend Matthew, and that slow, sad realization on Alana's face, caught so beautifully in the mirror. I really do think it's a really, really great scene, and it ends the film on a level of sadness and quality that then sets you kind of up perfectly, kind of cynically, for the hope and romance of the ending.
Yeah. And by the end, Paul Thomas Anderson has gotten you to root for, you know, what at the very beginning of the movie you probably would have objectively said was going to be completely wrong. Yeah, it is a masterfully told story in that it does bring you around by the end of the movie from a position that I think everybody holds to maybe questioning yourself, which is
case by case,
you know, depending. I think I think that's what makes it so provocative, is that it's a very well told human story that makes you relate to this person in a way that you almost can find yourself rooting for them to run off and, you know, be a pedophile.
Even if you're rooting for them in the sense of, okay, have a fun first love, and then that's never going to work out. You'll you know, she'll grow up and she'll move on to something more mature. But even if you're rooting for them just to make mistakes, still rooting for them. Yep. Tom's weirdly specific favorite part of the film. What is this saying everything twice? I don't say everything twice. I love the fake movie titles. Under One Roof is just such a great little throwaway title. Bed and Two Beds More Bath, or whatever the other one is. I love Alana entering the restaurant out of focus at the back with the cocktail penis. I love Alana's dad shooting hoops in the middle of the night. Who the fuck is Lisa?
What?
What time is it?
Excuse me, what the fuck? And she comes walking in the bikini.
All improv. All improv. The real Haim family. That is Alana Haim and real mum and dad, her real sisters, Danielle and Esty, who make up the band Haim.
No wonder the performances were so brilliant in there.
Yeah.
An average day in the Haim household.
No, it's great stuff. Maya Rudolph. Oh, sorry, I've skipped a scene. Here we are. Sorry. The penny drop for the playing guardian situation, brilliant. You can't go without a guardian. Our love is a light. It's just brilliant. I love Scarlett Gazando. Super hot chaperone, Gary. Well done. Just great sentence. Lucille Ball smoking chains. Lucy Doolittle. Sure. Um, and her coming in. What is that? V for vagina? What is that? Why do people keep doing that? We kind of had
You
a
can't.
real.
These are my fans. You
Yeah.
can't embarrass me in front of my fans. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm coming for you.
We had a real Lucille Ball moment. Like we had Being the Ricardos with Nicole Kidman. And then we had the TCM podcast Lucille Ball series. It really did feel, oh yeah, no, we're in Lucille Ball world. And this felt like the only thing that was actually kind of realistic of some of her outbursts. I listened to all episodes of that podcast, and they never really mentioned her temper. And I know where in Being the Ricardo, she was just like, this has to be perfect. This comedy has to be perfect.
Who was the woman singing Rise in the company cast recording?
Oh, Elaine Stritch.
Elaine Stritch. Death battle. You put Elaine Stritch and Lucille Ball into the octagon together. Who's walking out of there?
You're just screaming. It's all right. You can, and I've always had bad material, Steve, and I can afford to go back. And now I've got good material. Oh. One more time, please. Son.
Song.
Oh, Elaine. I love it. Does anyone still wear a hat? Elaine Stritch, what a one. I have here grown Gary sitting with small children, and then Maya Rudolph. Oh my God, you're huge.
Yes. That entire audition scene is heartbreaking to watch. And I think any actor that's ever had to do an audition in the room knows the feeling of that.
Maya Rudolph's eye pop, just the button on the end of the scene.
Yep.
I love Tim Conway Jr. How are you doing? Well, I'm divorced. I'm losing weight, you know. Do you want to know who the old man selling him a waterbed was?
Yes.
That's George DiCaprio.
What?
That's George DiCaprio. And apparently George was a well-known figure in the Southern California underground art scene during the era that the film was depicted. And he has one of my favorite lines in the entire film. Let me get it for you here. Do you dig it? Do you love it? Nobody's going to sleep on mattresses anymore. That's old hat, Jack. That's for squares. Good shit.
Brilliant.
We didn't talk, 1 minute, talking about fathers and sons. We talked about Alana Haim and then never talked about Cooper Hoffman.
Yeah, Jesus. Cooper Hoffman, breakout performance.
Completely breakout performance, and he earns it in his own right. However, you cannot ignore the just. Yeah,
you can't help but think of his dad. Yeah,
it's very, very sad with the incredible friendship and relationship that on screen and off screen that Paul Thomas Anderson had with Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's incredibly emotional for him to have Cooper in this film, and he was more or less a father figure strong, but a family friend their entire lives. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to see that Cooper inherited his dad's acting chops.
Yeah.
Seems.
There are moments, and it was kind of because this was coming out. I think it was the same month as Many Saints of Newark, which obviously has James Gandolfini playing his dad. Yeah. No, sorry, Michael Gandolfini. Anyway,
yeah. I got
in that film playing young Tony Soprano, and that film's nowhere near as good as this, but it is that haunting thing of, and they were both really good performances, like they were, and it was a sort of satisfying thing that this went beyond gimmick, which was very refreshing. I love them going to the expo. Sonny and Cher. No, Sonny. Did you enjoy the John C. Reilly cameo, David?
I did. Oh God. Give me a moment to remember where the fuck it happened.
He's Herman Munster. Yes, I am the real Herman Munster, but you can't sign yet.
No,
Good stuff.
I don't remember that at all.
It's at the expo when there's the guy playing Herman Munster and it's John C. Riley. Watch it again. Watch it for the third time.
I completely missed that. I did not see John C. Riley in the expo.
It's a good cameo.
Shit.
It's a good cameo. I love during Harriet Sansom Harris's scene, the phone call, which is clearly Ryan O'Neal. Love to take him. Love that ending button. I love when Sean Penn flirts with Alana. You know, you remind me of Grace. And as much as I love that, Kelly, there we go. That was the moment in the cinema where I thought she's a star. Kelly, just so sensational delivery. I love Rex Dan Blau. What a great name. And Jack Alden fighting with knives and spoons.
Brilliant.
I love Tom Waits. It's a great night for a job. Alana, do you even remember my real name? And then immediately shooting off and crashing the guitar.
I love the massive list of talents that she claims at the agents meeting.
Say you can do anything. Say you can do anything.
And then the argument about working nude. Lots of women work nude in the movies. I would work nude if I got paid for it.
Yeah. And then it's one of those things where it immediately shows how immature he is. So he's such a mature person when it comes to business and these incredible things that we see as so adult. And then he's still hung up on, you didn't let me see your boobies. You know,
it's that sort of tragedy of the child actor, isn't it? Like you're this emotionally immature person who's still like becoming who they are, but you've also had to deal with business practices and shady learning how to present your image in a favorable way and being judged and all that sort of thing.
After all this time, we go back to Magnolia. You know, Samuel, who is it? I think it's Samuel Pepys or something. Anyway, the guy who he's talking about is like, didn't have his life shit on and have his parents steal all of his money. And then, you know, even in that moment, that's immature because that in actuality, he did have all of his money stolen by his parents. And, you know, we go back to William H. Macy and he's just so sad and he just wants his teeth because he wants to be hit on by Brad the bartender. I have love in me. Oh,
I have love in me. Oh, heartbreaking movie.
Love Magnolia. What else have I got? I think one of the most just right. So Let Me Roll It by Paul McCartney and the Wings is one of my favorite songs ever. So when that struck up in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I was enjoying with Sean Penn screaming "to the cock" and downing a whiskey sour, I mean, I was on cloud nine.
That's all you needed. That's all you ever needed.
It was like there's just a shot. I love John Peters talking about vitamin D. You got a thing in your right eye, so you need vitamin D and omega oil. I love the shadow of John Peters walking up the hill, and again, him running back through the back of the shot to hit on the two sexy tennis women.
Yeah. Oh, fucking! I have never laughed so hard at a moment in a movie. Watching him just sprinting through the streets. And then taking the time to go back and hit on those two women.
Do you like peanut butter jelly sandwiches? Which, I mean, this story's been told so many times now in other shows and stuff, but that is these. John Peters had 3 notes when he read the scripts and he was told about the scene. He wouldn't have screamed at Gary. So they took all that out and made it more threatening. Nice. He would have hit on Alana. And his biggest chat-up line has always been, do you like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
Well, I'm glad at least he was consulted.
He was. John Peters. What a man.
What a guy.
What a guy. We've got some John Peters lines coming up. Her ordering her martini. Would you like a vodka or gin? Vodka gin. Yes, thank you. Do you want an olive or a lime? Yes, thank you. It's like that again. I want to be grown up. I want to order a martini, but I don't actually know how to order a martini.
I've never had a martini.
Yeah.
They're good.
And then I love Let's Go Paint the Town Red. Beautiful stuff. Any other tiny little things, David, that you've enjoyed that on multiple rewatches?
Very Jewish nose.
Very Jewish nose. You remind me of a bulldog, a little British bulldog. We'll get to that in a minute. Soundtrack corner then. So I have best song full stop, Let Me Roll It by the Wings, and best use of a song I have Let Me Roll It by the Wings. I also obviously have best song full stop, Life on Mars by David Bowie, one of the better songs ever written. And best use of a song, the final song by Taj Mahal, Tomorrow May Not Be Your Day, which immediately went into all of my playlists and is just a euphoric ending to a film. Great track, great pop, pulpy, bubblegum, psychedelic track.
I didn't recognize any of the music in this movie, but I thought it all fit very, very well.
What about Life on Mars by David Bowie?
No.
Is there life on Mars?
Nope.
You call David and you say you like music.
It's not Starman.
No, that's Starman. It's not Dance the Magic Dance from the
I
Labyrinth.
know that one, yeah. Dance, magic dance.
You!
You remind me of the Babe. What Babe? The Babe with the
Babe
power.
with the charm.
Power.
God, David Bowie, what a man. Okay, best lines. I've got John Peters, scumbag, fantastic. What about your dad? Do you have a good relationship with your dad? And then very sad at the end. Do you have a boyfriend? Yes and no. I don't know. Is he a shit? Yeah, they're all shits, aren't they? I'm cooler than you. Don't forget it. I don't need you to tell me whether I'm cool or not, old lady. What was that? I said, milady. Very funny.
I think it's weird that I hang out with Gary.
Gary and his 15-year-old friends all the time. I think it's kind of weird that I hang out with Gary and his 15-year-old friends all the time.
It's whatever you think it is. I love those earlier smoke breaks with Alana's friend.
Sister.
Just come, sister.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was a French show. Yes, sister. Yeah, love those breaks. They just kind of like are a nice, touching like moment in between things, I find.
Yeah. We've talked about it already. You're a goddamn fucking fighter, aren't you? I like that. I can see that. You came here trying to be all pretty for me, but really you remind me of a dog, of an old English pit bull dog with sex appeal. And a very Jewish nose. John Peters talking about how much he loves women. My only problem in life is that I love tail too much. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. Is that your sister? No. Is it your girlfriend? No. I love it so much. It's going to kill me one day. Do you know how much tail I get? No. All of it. It's all mine. Do you like Barbra Streisand? Underrated line. Do you like Barbra Streisand?
Barbra Streisand?
Yeah. I like her. Yeah.
You
I
like
love her.
jazz?
Yeah. I love her. You know, it gets boring sometimes, but I love her. Incredible. Jack Holden. Is that Rex Damblow, you son of a bitch from hell? Jack, out there, I've got 600 cc's, a full desert sled out there just for you. And again, tonight we bring Toko-san to Encino. Oh, great
That's
stuff.
good, but could we mention the serenity, the
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking, yeah.
what do you? I'm not going to even attempt.
Yeah, let's not attempt that one, David. And the oh, David, your mic's not working. Best specific Halloween costume. I mean, I've obviously got John Peters' white tracksuit, and I also enjoy Gary's nice white suit with his pink popping shirt. I like both of those. Anything else, David?
Sorry, you killed me. Oh God, I was in the middle of swallowing some coffee when you said favorite Halloween costume, and it just about killed me.
It's always one of my favorite categories. What's the change? I don't actually have any.
Not even one.
Don't. I have here. No, I don't. Nothing came up. Nothing came up.
Wouldn't even make her say 18.
No, it's not the point of the film, is it? I mean, yeah, sure. Let's be boring. Let's make her 20.
Yeah, that's enough.
You know, it would make me feel less disgusting when I tell people it was my favorite film of the year.
I do think it would remove a layer of complexity from the film. That's part of what makes it so engaging.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's pretty lovable. Um, Tom's big question from watching the trailer and for watching the film without subtitles, I always thought that the thing that Sean Penn screams is "I'm a common Nazi," but it's "I'm coming Nancy."
Well, I would have
Great.
never cracked that case.
Yeah. Who is Fat Bernie? Why is everything named after Fat Bernie? And who is he?
I think Fat Bernie was a take on Connor's appearance, or on Gary's appearance rather.
Could be.
But I mean, it's certainly better than Soggy Bottom Waterbeds.
Soggy Bottom, which was the working title for this film for a very, very long time. And I was, and
Really?
yeah. And so when I was the weirdo who was like, oh my God, they've announced that they're remaking Tale of the Cock for Soggy Bottom, I sounded insane. Sean Penn's going to be in Soggy Bottom. I'm sorry, am I supposed to understand what you mean? Like, great time to be alive.
I'm
I
glad that
thought,
you're committed to spreading the good word.
yes. Oh, David. Oh, David. I don't have any other questions. I have a few fun facts. In one of the scenes of the truck, Alana says that she's 28, but then corrects herself by saying she's 25. This was a genuine mistake, as Alana Haim got so nervous filming a scene with Bradley Cooper that she accidentally revealed her actual age. That moment was left in the film because nobody broke character.
I mean, I do like when moments like when a mistake that an actor has made somehow makes the film just a little bit better and it makes it into the movie.
I don't like it when Twitter detectives try to use it. Also, in the film, there is a scene where she says she's 28, making the age difference actually 13. I want my Twitter people to be JFK conspiracy theorists. I don't want anything else. I want to know. All I want is magic bullet theories.
Look, I can tell you who killed Kennedy, but they'd send people after me.
Well, David, trust me, nobody listens to this. You're fine. The scenes involving Jerry Frick's wives were inspired by stories that Paul Thomas Anderson's stepmother-in-law, Kimoko Rudolph, told him in regards to the casual racism she faced as a young woman. Frick's second wife shares the same first name with Kimoko, and the real-life Kimoko appears in the Jack Holden restaurant scene alongside her husband, Richard Rudolph, and many of their grandchildren. There you go. The movie Alana auditions for is based on Clint Eastwood's film Breezy, which stars a little actor you might know called William Holden. It's like a really stupid game. I remember somebody describing If I Did It, the O.J. Simpson book, like a really stupid game. Because he's like, if I did it, I'd have worn these exact gloves and driven this exact car and done all of these things. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, it's Lucy Doolittle, but I'm going to make her look exactly like Lucille Ball, have the same voice, and I'm going to use the exact film, and I'm going to like it's just like a stupid game. And then Alana's family is played by her real life family members. She and her sisters are the members of Haim. Paul Thomas Anderson previously directed a number of music videos. We talked about this. And when he was a child, his elementary art school teacher was Donna Haim, the mother of the girls. The film was partly inspired by a crush that he had on her when he was her student.
She just wrote a fantasy fulfillment. You see, if a woman had written this, people would say that it was just fanfic.
Possibly. David, do you have anything else to say about Licorice Pizza?
It's a movie full of nuance, and it's deeper than Twitter will lead you to believe. It's worth watching.
It is certainly worth watching. Now, David, that concludes our Paul Thomas Andersoning. but it doesn't really because we've still got to shoot Inherent Vice. We've kind of there's a wasp that's just flown in, David.
Oh,
no,
panic! You should panic and run and start swatting at it wildly.
David, that's not. Oh, the wasp has gone.
Have you got oven cleaner?
Got some bleach.
I don't know if bleach will do it, but oven cleaner will kill anything fucking dead in a few seconds.
See, David, this is the exact sort of footage that will come back to haunt you when they find those dead bodies.
Any bug, any insect.
They'll call
and
me.
You're all insects to me.
You know, what's the Norm Macdonald thing? Where it's like, you know, when I'm doing that killing thing and I'm feeling like God. just great stuff. You know, and he's talking about shallow graves, and he's like, I always read, the body was found in a shallow grave. I'm like, you wouldn't dig a little bit deeper? And then just halfway through that, he just throws it in and like, you know, I'm doing that. I'm killing somebody. I'm feeling like God. Just wonderful. Love Norm. Oh, what a man. Oh, no. Norm Macdonald's. I just watched a compilation. A university girl is auctioning off her virginity next week. And for $100 million, you can have the worst sex of your life. You're canceled. McDonald's. I am cancelled. Well, there we go. What a way to end our celebration of Paul Thomas Anderson. David, we haven't shot Inherent Vice, and you may surprise me and think, and maybe Inherent Vice is your favorite. I don't think it will be. It's nobody's. Apart from people who are intentionally being assholes. Like, actually, Inherent Vice is my favorite. What was your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film?
Looking back on them all, probably Boogie Nights, ultimately.
I win.
Yeah.
You got to do Boogie.
Boogie Nights has got to take it for me. It's just damn brilliant, and it sets off Paul Thomas Anderson's, work with a bang.
People tell me I look like Han Solo. Do you think I look like Han Solo? Great stuff. And I stand by, I could watch Boogie Nights every month. I stand by it, David. Right, I must depart. David, it has been my distinct pleasure as always.
Same here, bud.
See you soon.
Da ba da ba da ba da